Okay, I think I have everything figured out. Hopefully you can hear sound and hopefully you can see the screen share. Sorry about that on the last video. I think if the phone rings, I'll ignore it this time. I am going to go through assemblies again, um, but I'm not going to recreate the parts. So in the assignment, it says make these parts, right? 5 parts, 6, including a pin that I added. So I added the pin information up here. So in each one of these connections, here, 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 there should be a pin, right? So put those pins in for me. These parts are very simple. I'm pretty sure all of you can model them just fine. So I am not, in the first video, I did model the parts, but in this one, I'm not going to do that. So here's the base, right? I have all 3 of my parts made. So I'm not modeling your exercise, but I just made something kind of similar where I have a base, a connector, and a pin, right? And those are individual separate part files. So that's how we want to do it the first time we make an assembly is we want to make all the parts. If you have the parts open when you start the assembly, it'll see those parts. If the parts are not open, then you'll have to browse for them. But to make an assembly, you should start with the part that is stationary. If there is a part that's stationary, you should begin with that one to start your assembly. You may want motion in your assembly. So if you choose something that moves to start the assembly, it locks it down and kind of freezes it. We can float it, it's called, but just for good common practice, you usually start an assembly with the part that is stationary. So my block is going to be stationary, and then I'm going to put a connector and a pin in, and that should be enough for you to get the flow of how this works. So up here at File, you'll see that there is Make Assembly from Part. So that's what we're going to do. And what it does is it opens up an assembly, calls it Assembly 1, which is not great. We'll change that right away. It highlights the base that I had already open, right? And you can see on the cursor, there's a little part file. Maybe I can point to it. Yeah, see that? There's a little part there. So if you click out here, click, it places that part. And it starts the assembly with this one part. Now, it names it Assembly 1, so that's not great. So right away, we need to do a save as. And it's going to put the ASM or SLD ASM extension on it for you. You don't have to type that. I'm just going to write what? Week 5 EXAM example assembly. All right. It's probably what I called it last time, but so now it renames it and the assembly is going. So this is the assembly file. The part files are separate, so it's looking at those part files. So part files and assembly files need to be together. So I often make a folder for assemblies and put everything in the folder, okay? So all the part files need to go in with the assembly. If you send me an assembly, I can't see it unless the parts travel with it. So I'll show you how to do that when we get our little assembly made. So there's our assembly. If I click and hold on that part, I can't move it around. It's kind of locked down, okay? Now I'm going to insert a component. It sees those components because they're open. If they were closed, then you'd have to browse for them, okay? So I leave my part files open just so I can find them easy. I'm going to bring in the connector. So I click on it, and then I move over here. So it shows up automatically. You can't really place it. You just bring it in and set it. You can see that you can kind of see that it's going through the part there. So you know it's kind of close to that part. If I put it out here somewhere, I really don't know where it is. And it doesn't matter because we're going to move it around with a different technique. But I'm just going to place it here. So it's placed. And I roll back and kind of roll around, see where it went. Oh, it's pretty close to the object. So that's nice. Sometimes, it comes in, you think it's close. you know, that looks close from this view. But then when I roll it around, it's like, oh, not even close, right? So you always want to roll around and kind of try to figure out where it is. When you move it around, you think it's close, but then maybe it's not as close as you think. So we can't really move parts around three-dimensionally with our mouse. It tries, right? Like you can go into this view and then you can kind of move it over closer, and then you go into this view and you can move it to the side some. So you see how it put it at different depth though. So it does kind of tweak it out. All right. So the way we position things in assemblies called mates, and that's right here. So you can mate different geometries. You can mate surface to surface. You can make mate round object to round object. That's called a concentric mate. You can mate surface to surface and then put a distance in to make it further apart. There are a lot of different mates, and then there are advanced mates that we're not going to do for a while. So I'm going to do basic surface to surface mate. So I roll it around. I'm like, I want that surface. So I hit mate. And I go that surface to that surface. And it does it. Okay. When I roll it around, I see it does it. I can hit the green check mark and notice mate stays open, because often we just want to continue mating things until we get it where we want it. I can still move it around. I only mated 1 degree of freedom. There's 3 degrees of freedom, X, Y, and Z. But I can move it around. It looks like I'm moving it away from the object, but I'm not. Those 2 surfaces are still lined up. So that's what a mate does. It's controlling 1 of the 3 degrees of freedom. Okay. So I need another mate, obviously, to hold it in place. Notice I cannot grab the block and move it around. It's locked. It's actually called fixed. It's fixed. But this is still floating for me, so that's good. So I'll show you another mate. Let's do a concentric mate where I grab the cylinder and the cylinder. And right away it thinks, oh, you want concentric. Yep, I do. So I'm going to say, yep. So now it's got 2 controls, but a 3rd degree of freedom. Okay? That's what we want. So after each mate, I tend to move my objects around to make sure it's doing what I want it to do. I'm going to hit green check mark and get out of mates so you can see that it's keeping track of these mates, and you can mouse over them and look at it. Okay. So if something won't move appropriately, you can look at the mates and see what's controlling that. And then you can get rid of them if you want, right? I could click on that and I could hit delete. But what I want to do, because when I designed my part, my pin has an extra 1/8 of length because I wanted a space between the connector and the block. I didn't want it to be hard on it, right? Like that. So I'm going to go back to this first mate, the surface mate, and I'm going to edit it. And you'll see in the surface mate, I have my 2 surfaces, and they are going to be coincident, but I can put in a distance, 0.1. And it'll put that spacing in for me. So that's how you can move things away from other objects, yet still control their movement, right? All right. So now I have a couple mates, and that's good. I want this actually to move. So this is all good. It goes all the way around. There are other mates that can control like the angle of motion kind of thing. Those are advanced mates. But I'm going to bring in my last component, the pin. So here's the pin, right? And I want to put the pin in here. But putting it in manually, that doesn't work. So how do we do it? We use mates. Mates are going to be wonderful in the beginning, and then they're going to be very challenging. So I'm going to choose again. Here, I'll show you a different way to do it. I'm going to mate an edge. So see how an edge shows up? So that's not a surface, but it's an edge, and it's a circle. And then I'm going to find another circle there. So again, it's making 2 circles concentric. Before it was 2 faces, it made concentric. There's just a lot you can do with mates. Now this moves this way, right? So with a round object, you can control two things with one mate. I can't move it in the X. I can't move it in the Y. I can only move it in this Z axis, right? So that one mate controlled 2 degrees of freedom. So sometimes this depends on the geometry of the object. All right, I'm gonna do another mate. I'm gonna do a face-to-face mate, and that should lock my pin in place. All right, now if I wanted to grab the pin, I can't. It's there. It actually does spin, but it's pretty hard to see. Maybe you can see that. Kind of see it spinning around. Yeah, it does spin. If I wanted to lock the spin down, I'd have to figure out a way to do it, like maybe a quadrant mate type of thing, or a point mate. That gets tricky. All right, so now here's my object. It's locked down, and I'm good to go. So that's going to be the process for your exercise, where you make all the parts and then you bring it into assembly and you put it all together and try and make it move a little bit. Okay. I'm going to show you how to save it and share it with me. So one of the things I want is a PDF of your assembly. So get it in a good view, whatever makes it look really good for you. And then you can do File, Save As. Oh, it wants to rebuild. That's often the case. So let's go File, Save As, and you should be able to change this to a PDF. And remember, it's going to do the PDF of the current view, so don't have it all zoomed all wonky like, right? And I'll just set it on the desktop. So that's the PDF of the assembly. I want that. And then I need a pack and go. It's called Pack and Go. It's here, Pack and Go. It's for assemblies. So what Pack and Go does is it's going to collect all the parts of the assembly and the assembly file. So the top one is the assembly file, and then there's 3 parts. And what I want you to use is not save to folder, but save to zip. So we're going to zip it to a folder, okay? It's going onto the desktop. It's going to call it week 5 assembly, so that's all good. I don't need to do any of that. I'm just going to hit save. Okay, so those 2 things are on the desktop, and that's what I want. So the Pack and Go assembly, boom, just like that. I don't see it. So, oh, I went into week 5, didn't I? Into a week 5. There it is. Yeah, here it is. So it did go into a folder. So that's actually good, right? So this is the one I believe I just made, 1025. Yep, this is the one I just made. That is the assembly. That is what you would upload to me. That brings me the parts and the assembly. And then the PDF is here. So let's look at the PDF. Yeah. So doesn't look like the PDF to me. Let's do that again. Oh, whoops. I don't know where. Oh, the PDF did go on the desktop. There it is on the desktop. Let's look at that. Yeah, so it kind of shrinks it down, but that's because it's just not very opened up. But it looks good. So that allows me to just quickly look at the PDF and then check your assembly file. So that's what I want. All right, sorry about the first video. Hope this helps, and let me know how it's going.